Hi, welcome back to My Cup of TV. I'm Jenny.
JD.
And Kat.
So, it's my spin. I just feel so out of practice with the wheel.
I know. For anybody that's new, we spin a wheel to get a category for a BTS video.
We do. And there's normally more of us.
Yeah.
Man down.
Man down. We're missing Erin.
Bridezilla has been banned until she has reformed.
Back into Erin at
Yes.
the moment. She is in the form of Bridezilla. So.
Although I will point out, she's Bridezilla, but it was her choice not to be here. We didn't say you can't come.
We're going to
Until you calm it down.
We're going to film BTS without you. You're not allowed access. No. It's fine. So.
We will have no happily married people here. Thank you very much.
Happily married, get out.
Lizzie, it's your spin.
It's my spin.
Okay. No magnets.
No boobs.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Just spin.
Fun with
BTS. That is a good
It's
category.
my favourite category. Okay. So, what are we watching?
Fun with BTS. So Kat and I were talking, and we thought you might enjoy Spinebreaker.
Wait, that doesn't sound like an enjoyable thing.
Okay.
Unless.
Yeah. No.
Can I just point out, you went there first, not me. You're the filth.
So Spinebreaker is a song that BTS wrote to talk to the youth, basically saying you don't need all of these expensive clothes to fit in. There's a lot of peer pressure that you get obviously in teenage groups and that in order to fit in you've got to wear certain types of clothes, and you know, like it might be the latest, like being sucked in by the latest trend basically, and they're saying stop, think for yourself, that doesn't define you. But the sad part about that is not only sort of this divide, and actually by buying into that you're actually helping that divide, but also it's torture on your parents. They're breaking their backs, they can't spend all their money on these expensive clothes for you, and if you really still are that set on getting it, make your own money and buy it.
I was just going to say, I can remember my parents. I mean, I wanted these things, but I knew they couldn't afford it, and I wasn't a brat who would like, oh, I have to have these trainers. Someone else had these trainers, because I did go and get myself a job. I got a Saturday job.
There you go. And that's a really good lesson to learn, like the for lack of a better word, the cost of earning and what goes into it.
It's about the value of money, basically.
That's it, the value of money, yes. And
I'll tell you what, it's actually, this is where I sound old, it's even worse now, because again, working with kids, they just see you get something, you tap a card. They don't see where the money comes in, where the money goes, that you're losing something to gain it. They just tap, done.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And so
you got to make sure you teach them about that.
And to know, trying to teach them the value of things. You know, they're like, oh, but I really want this. And you're like, but it's not worth that money. You know, they don't have that idea of what's worth the money and what's not.
But I suppose in their world, if their world is only this like home life or maybe school, that's so much pressure. But I do get where BTS are coming from, which is quite nice. Like considering that throughout their history, that's been so. They have sung songs that have been quite rebellious. Do you know what I mean? They're quite bold and ballsy to make these points. But it's almost like this song is coming down on the parents' side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Supporting them as well. But it is also saying to the kids, like, you don't need that to fit in. Like, don't worry. Like, don't give in to that peer pressure. But they do it in a very comical satire way.
What they do when they're rebellious is basically say, don't let people force you to live a certain way.
Yeah.
At the detriment to your own health, your mental health, and your own happiness.
And what you're wearing doesn't define you. That label doesn't define you.
But in a way, what they're doing, it's the same message, but you're not talking about the parents and society making you that way. They're talking about your own friends and your own need to fit in, forcing that on you.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
It makes sense in my head.
What I said to Jenny was... And this is actually, I wasn't sure what was going to come up first, if we were going to spin it on the wheel or if it was going to come up, because we are also over on Patreon watching the Gaios. And when we finish the Gaios, which is going to be soon, we're going to be getting on to Run. This is the last episode of Gaio. So it will make sense when we watch it in Gaio. But
Hang on. So Is this an MV?
It is an MV.
So the MV is the last episode, or like the making of, or
the making of.
Oh,
This is a homemade MV. And that's why it's fun with BTS.
whose film is it?
You have to see.
Find out in a minute.
Well, I can't see if they're holding the camera and they're behind it, can we?
You'll see who's in it. You'll see who's in it. And like I said, we're watching the guys. So the guy is almost like the shooting sketch.
Okay.
So we will get to them. So this is pretty good timing, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hilarious, and it's actually it's a bit of a jam song, isn't it? You get it. It's an
It's really
earworm.
good.
You get it in your head, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So it's fun with BTS because they've done it themselves. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just really
And it's a serious undertone message, but they're delivering it in a really fun way. It's
Yeah.
the same as with like Go when they were
Yeah.
talking about like spending all your money and everything, but actually the youth of today are doing that because they're actually really sad. So it's delivering again an important message about all this swag and blah, blah, but actually the undertone of that is don't let that define you. Like don't give in to that peer pressure. So, but delivered in a very fun way.
Okay. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe as usual. And I try and think about interesting ways to say these things, but there really isn't.
We got them all hot mess over on Patreon, so if you want to join us.
They are any number of videos ahead. I never know what it will be, because sometimes we film stuff that's more up to date, like when we did the Permission to Dance stuff, Jimmy Fallon stuff,
Fallon, Will It Fit? Yeah.
What's the one we did today? Live Lounge.
Yeah.
I tend to put those in earlier because they're new and I just get excited and I want to get them out there.
Yeah.
So I get them up on Patreon quick.
And Patreon's got like exclusive stuff like dance practices and that. So
Carpool karaoke. A lot of people request that. That's on there. The Jimmy Fallon interviews. Will it fit? Well,
Yeah.
that tells you how many times I've watched that.
yeah. We've got more Jimmy
Our
Fallon
very
interviews to go on there.
important 0.25 speed scientific research.
Research. Yes.
If you are one of those people who's all about the scientific research, then we have that.
Attention to detail. Not,
We don't miss no nip slips on this channel.
Not for perving reasons.
What does that say?
No idea. I think it says Spinebreaker by Cats on with them.
Dance director. Mental carer. I didn't see what the last one was.
You see how everything's just so elaborate.
The jackets. Oh. What the hell was that?
Yes, that's what a lot of us thought.
Do you know what though?
That was fun with BTS.
That was fun with BTS.
That is exactly what we would end up with if we were given a camera and told we can just do a music video
Make
in a hotel.
music video, yes, basically. You see all of their like jackets, everything looks so elaborate, like with the pearls. And J-Hope didn't have one pair of glasses; he had three stacked, and it's obviously talking about this obnoxiousness of overabundance.
More and more. Yeah.
Until you literally that does not make you a whole person.
No.
That's just wasted. But I think again, like a lot of BTS stuff, before we sort of, even if you don't want to delve deeper into the meaning of it, and that just on the face value, I just think it's crazy. It's just
but do you
so
think
random.
a part of that whole video thing could also be, look how ridiculous you look?
Yes. Amazing.
Do you know what I mean? They're being completely
look
ridiculous.
Look at you all, like you're all so desperate to fit in with each other. You look ridiculous. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Because they're all being over the top ridiculous.
Really good point, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's true, isn't it? When you look back, when we were talking about looking back at your younger self, you're like, what were you doing? Why were you so desperate to have this thing? Like, and it really doesn't matter.
Wearing stuff that clearly did not work for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was wearing it.
Yeah, just because, which is so stupid. Like, I like to think that I was never someone that sort of would follow a trend unless it was something that I did actually like.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm human, so I imagine that there was probably different times in my life where a bit of peer pressure and wanting to fit in absolutely was in there.
Everybody does that.
But I do think I was quite good at not following trends. In fact, trends used to irritate me because, again, it was like, I don't know, sometimes I'd just see how pointless they were. And
well, like I said,
my parents were pretty good at being like, no.
Yeah, I've said to you before, I went through a phase in my teens where I wanted my nose pierced. And I was like, no, I want my eyebrow pierced. No, I want my lip pierced. And I went through like different options. But obviously I had to have my parents' permission. And they always said no. When I want my belly button done, they said no. So when I got to 16 and I was allowed, nearly everyone I knew had it done. And I was like, oh, actually, I don't really want it now. You know, that kind of...
You just had time to think on it. Yeah.
And in a way, as much as there's the peer pressure to fit in and do what everyone else is doing, there was also a part of me that was a bit like, but now I don't want it because everyone's doing it. And it's not exciting anymore. It's not different anymore.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even on the face of it,
that's
enjoy it. Again, la la las. Did you hear them all? La 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 la.
I didn't, because I was kind of focused on what was going on. Like the bit, I want to see the bit at the beginning. You know where the names were coming up.
Oh.
Because I saw that Jin was the dance director. And I thought, brilliant.
Yeah. V was the mental carer.
Yeah, mental carer.
Yeah.
And I thought, hang on, who out of them needs a mental carer?
I think was Sugar in charge of snacks. I can't remember who. I think it was Sugar was in charge of snacks. We'll double check it. Yeah.
Well, we're on the same wavelength because I always make sure I've got snacks.
It's very important. Very important. Yeah. But there is also, again, way better job than me, obviously, like we said before, about not necessarily having everything land for us because we're foreigners to the Korean language and sort of the cultural references and stuff, but there is a DKDKTV explanation of Spinebreaker that we could watch.
And because we didn't have the lyrics. So.
Exactly, yeah. But again, it's that thing of, at first, everything's madness going on, and then trying to read the lyrics as well is usually a bit too much. But yeah, we'll let the guys at DK tell us.
Okay.
Cool.
I can imagine walking along with an attitude.
Spinebreaker. What a strong title name. For new armies or casual listeners that don't look into the lyrics that much, the title might be a little misleading or misunderstood in the way of maybe BTS crushing their haters' spines. I doubt that anybody would actually think like that. But still, without knowing the Korean cultural references behind the story, this song is a little bit hard for foreigners to fully comprehend.
Good faces. You start nodding along.
Extremely expensive shoes, pattern jackets, and watches. These are all everyday objects that students use in their daily lives. Education is going up the mountain, students are also going up the mountain. Going up the mountain is a Korean idiom called 사공이 많으면 배가 산으로 간다, which is translated into too many cooks spoil the broth. So basically BTS is trying to criticize the students alongside with the Korean education system that both parties are going in the wrong direction.
So it's still divided in
What
a
school
rich
looks
and
like
poor.
these days in a nutshell. Rich students and poor students can be identified by whether they have expensive clothes or not. For students who cannot afford these expensive clothes, they'll do whatever they can to get their hands on these particular brands or clothes. BTS now tries to touch the conscience of these students about their behavior trying to get expensive apparel, how they're sensitive towards trends and appearance, and how they whined and begged and asked their parents again and again to buy them these expensive clothes.
Spinebreaker, okay, that makes sense.
Finally, the word spinebreaker appears. The phrase spinebreaker comes from the Korean idiom 등골이 휘다, which
'Cause
literally
they're working
means your
so
back
hard.
gets bent because you work so much. Usually, hard physical labor is done by bending your back. Thus, if you work too much, your spine would permanently become bent. So, BTS is calling kids who beg their parents to buy them expensive clothes spinebreakers. Not only the kids, but certain items themselves are now officially called spinebreakers because parents need to work so hard to afford these items. So, these so-called spinebreaker kids don't care how hard their parents try to provide them food or necessities, but rather pester their parents by saying, "But all of my friends have it too." But why specifically padded jackets? It's because students in Korea wear school uniforms, but in the winter it gets too cold, so the most convenient body warmer would be a padded jacket. A few years ago, the padded jacket market wasn't that diverse, and particular brands were lead brands in the industry, such as the notorious North Face. These padded jackets had and still do have an extremely high price. The average price range would go from $500 to $1,000. They even had ranks in the paddings,
Not that much
depending
here, are
on
they?
how
No,
much duck down was
so.
inside. But nowadays, it's no longer about particular brands and clothing. The spine breaking has evolved and expanded into products such as smartphones. So obviously, the luxurious clothing was a burden to parents that were not in the position to afford it, but nevertheless their kids demanded them to buy it. So that's why the last lyric says, rather than filling your jacket with duck down, fill your head first with some common sense or conscience before it's too late. The chorus is literally BTS being satirical about the kids that feel good and feel swag in their dirty clothes. It's dirty clothes because they earned it in a dirty way, not by earning the money themselves, but by breaking their parents'
It's quite a
back.
hard-hitting
The
message,
expression
isn't
that
it? They've
dirty
really gone
clothes
for
will
it.
tighten up your heart means that eventually the kids will feel guilty and bad about wearing their clothes. In the second verse, BTS disses the kid haters. 배가 부르다 means that you have it easy and you have no worries of getting food in your mouth. Kids have their bellies full all due to their parents. Thus, they don't know how to do anything but to just feed on provided food. But they're being nosy and saying things that they wouldn't be able to say in front of the actual person, bluffing. You'll only be satisfied when the whole population of Korea dresses the same as you. This is satire against how kids think wearing the same things look cool. RM then goes on by saying, mind your own business, fashion, and life. When RM's voice changes into a comical version, he is impersonating and mocking the kids by imitating what they would actually say, such as, "But I want it so much, what should I do? Friends poorer than me even have it. If I don't want to be an outcast, I need to buy it. At this age, we're all supposed to be like this." RM says people might call him crazy or a no-no, criticize him for wearing expensive clothes, but he also points out that at least he's attractive, and most of all, he's not a spinebreaker that begs for his parents to buy him clothes. The last line is the killing point of the song. The real spinebreaker is you, who's still in the corner of your room at that age. Which means you can't do anything by yourself, so why don't you just shut up and respect your parents by helping them not suffer by paying your stupid padding jacket.
I think what surprised me about the lyrics is they haven't gone for wordplay or suggestion. They've gone straight in with a direct.
And it was like what you said, like in the end, can't you see how ridiculous you look? Like when you do all fit in, but you all look like idiots.
Because, like I said, the lyrics they may not translate to something we would pick up culturally, but if you're Korean and you're hearing that, you know exactly, it's very direct what they're saying.
Yeah.
Also, North Face jackets are fucking expensive in Korea.
Yeah, they're not that much here.
No, they're about 100 to 200 over here.
But imagine they are possibly marked up in countries that have harsher winters for that very reason.
But then I can remember when I was at school, it was Reebok Classics and shot jackets.
I did not have a shot jacket.
Neither did
There was
I.
no way my mum was paying for one of them.
No, my mum wouldn't.
The other thing we had was Gap jumpers. And I did have one of them, but my mum got it.
I had the Reebok Classics.
I had the Reebok Classics.
I had 2 pairs, but again, I had a job.
I didn't have that. Didn't have either of those. I got a Gap jumper, but I got that myself when I was earning my pocket money.
I had a Gap jumper, but I got it for Christmas. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
and I had Reebok Classics, but my dad got them in America, so they weren't. They weren't. That was when America was ridiculously cheap, so they weren't.
But it's really nice, obviously, if you can get those things. As long as, again, it's not too much pressure for your parents or whatever, but like as a treat, as a big birthday present or whatever. But
But again, as much as yes, children should be behaving that way, there is something on the parents there. Because if my mum said she weren't buying it, there was no point in me going on because she weren't buying it.
No, my mum.
And I knew she meant it. So being a brat was not going to change
didn't get me
anything.
anyway. But we come from like Irish families, so you listen to your parents when they say
that's
no.
The same for me. Like if I wasn't, and I did not come from an Irish family, but if you weren't getting it just because you whinged about it.
Yeah.
No, I just mean it's quite common
If
in
anything,
Irish families.
if anything,
you argue,
the
you
more
get your ass
the more
whooping.
I would whinge about it, the less likely I was to ever
and
get
you
it.
could get an ass whooping. So
I wouldn't get anything like that.
I would get an ass whooping, but it was one of those like maybe for your birthday. But if I went on and on about it, not even for my birthday, my mum would be like, "Nope, I'm really putting my foot down now."
But no, really, really good explanation. Again, grateful for DKDKTV. Did a really good job. And it's like the little bits that I said at the beginning. But and then what you said about the poking fun at the ridiculousness of it. Really good
Like you said,
message.
Joe had wear that many pairs of sunglasses.
And I think that's the point. Them being so stupid and so getting so fat on their own ignorance and But that's really fun. I just love that anyway. Even if I didn't delve into the deeper meaning, I just love seeing them muck about and make their own MV.
Jin in that video, he was like always eating.
Yes.
Is that to do with the stomach full thing? That kind of take.
Greed. Yeah.
So that was BTS Spinebreaker.
And yet another song to add to your repertoire of la la las.
When you said repertoire, I'm thinking, what, my karaoke songs?
Well, we will sing that bit, right? We know the la la las or na na nas. It's
you know
okay.
what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a list of them all, and when Erin comes back, we'll quiz her.
Just to if she's watched them. So that was Spinebreaker. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.